Hey everyone! I decided that I need to stop putting off doing another video because I've had it on my list to do for like weeks and I just haven't found the time or made the time, however you want to look at it. So I'm in the car, I'm waiting for my kids in their Taekwondo class, and I was doing a little bit of going through my collage stash and I realized I have not done a Wanderlust Gluebook flip through in a while, and I have more than doubled my pages in here. So if you'd remember my first Wanderlust Gluebook video, I'll link to it at the bottom, but that covers the first half of my Wanderlust Gluebook, which is this half right here. And I wanted to just do a little flip through so you can see what I've done since then. Now, a lot of the pages that I've done are ones I did during my glue book parties. I will link to information about that as well. If you like collage, if you like art journaling, if you are pressed for time, if you don't feel very creative, if you need an outlet, if you want something fun to do on a Saturday night, come to the glue book parties. They're so much fun. They are virtual parties on Instagram where we have plenty of people who do it on their own in their PJs with a glass of wine or a glass of soda or something. And then we have others who invite friends over and actually make an event out of it. We have people who have their kids join along. Sometimes my kids join. It's really fun. And it's very easy to figure out once you've done it once or twice. So don't be daunted by the idea of doing a party on Instagram. Okay, that's my little advertisement. Links below. So this is the last page that I showed you in my glue book. And actually this I cut out to put over this background with the road. This was during, or when I was dreaming about my travels. Actually, this whole entire book is basically about wanderlust and travel and being free. And so this is a really meaningful book to me. I had this starting before we did our epic RV trip with my family. And then since we've done it, I just totally have the travel bug. So here is this page. I just talked 2 minutes for you seeing that page. And I wanted to keep flipping through. This is actually separate. This hand is separate from this awesome skyline. I just loved that. It was all these different across the world buildings and architecture, and so fun. So as from the last video I mentioned, I really love white space, and I found that as I'm flipping through this second half, I've left even more white space, and I may come back and fill these in, but these ones that I've made months ago, I doubt I'll even come back and fill that in with text. I love white space in my collage. That's why I really like the graph paper composition notebooks. So you'll see I like to put quotes in, and I do some journaling. This was before my trip. That trip was so awesome with my family. This is actually a Tim Holtz rub-off little thing. So that worked really well right there. And as you can see at the bottom, I actually did this page on my trip. Coral Pink Sand Dunes State Park, which is a fantastic state park in Utah. It's near both Zion National Park and Bryce Canyon. Really amazing. I love this page. This page was kind of a hospitality page, and I actually have a tutorial on, not tutorial, a demonstration on how I did this spread. I love it. This was one that was based on a color prompt from one of the glue book parties. I think it was pink, red, and green. And again, the white space. I don't know, white space just makes me feel like I can breathe. So as you can see, this is some Sharpie, and the color is watercolor crayon. Glue booking is something that is so simple and can be as elaborate or sparse as you make it. I use washi tape. Mostly I just use clippings and cutouts from magazines and books, but you don't need much, which is why it's a perfect mobile art medium. In case anyone's wondering where I get my magazines, I usually, probably 90% of the time, I get magazines at Half Price Books, which is a used bookstore that has magazines for 25 cents or 50 cents. And I look for ones that will have interesting images. I look for travel magazines. I look for maybe the non-mainstream magazines. I really don't go for women's magazines very much unless it's kind of a funky fashion one, because certain ones of those have really interesting silhouettes and images that I find speak to me. So these are all from a travel magazine. Some washi, watercolor, crayon, tissue paper. These are kind of my staples. Sharpie writes wonderfully over top of magazine pages, the glossy magazine pages, so I always have a bunch of Sharpies on hand so I could write over those. I believe this was from a book of black and white photography, kind of with the theme of just humanity. I can't remember what it's called, but beautiful book, a lot of really interesting images in there. Sometimes it's really fun to find a silhouette or a magazine image, a figure that you like, and just take part of it. I mean, look at these rock and gold shoes. It totally just stuck out to me, and going along with the lightning, that it was just fun. So think outside the box with your images. You don't always have to use them as they are. Actually, it's better if you don't. This little just piece of this building, I don't know, I just wanted to be there. This is one of my cork stamps, and I still need to do a video on how I make my cork stamps, but I did it twice and it got messed up in the translation to YouTube, so I have to do it again a third time. This is one of my favorites, actually. Love this image. Old map, and I was exploring textures here. It was really interesting. This is from a vintage children's workbook, penmanship book. This was from one of my glue book parties, maybe the December one? Not quite sure. This is an empty page. I didn't even realize I left an empty page, but this was another glue book party prompt. I'm not sure what the prompt was on that one. Now this red really stuck out to me on all these ways of using the red. This says actually, and that is my word for 2016. It is a word for forward motion. It is a word for truth. It is a word for action and doing. And so that's kind of where my word came from. Ah, here's the hashtag. Jan Glue Book Party 16. That was from last month. And that's my final page. This was from the February Glue Book Party. And I just love this beautiful, I don't know, whatever that is. Somebody said it looked like a portal in the Glue Book Party. So awesome. And I still have so much more to go. I'm probably, am I even halfway through this book? Maybe just barely. But it's definitely a work in progress. I love this. It's my favorite. My favorite glue book. I'll probably do one again like this when this one's done. Maybe with a different theme. But thanks for watching. Check out the links below. And thanks for excusing my rough video in the car. I just had to actually bite the bullet and do it. That's my word after all. Thanks again.